It's dependent on ownership of these people who are no longer Homo sapiens. In fact, they renamed them Homo Borgenesis. So what human rights does a Homo Borgenesis have?
Homo Borgenesis. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Your ears do not deceive you. It seems that society has taken strides in technological advances when it comes to actually changing the narrative and changing DNA. It looks like they're going to be trying to divide mankind into two different species, the way it's looking. And I want to say shout out to Dr. Lee Merritt. When you all get the chance, I really want y'all to check out Dr. Lee Merritt. And she has a slew of articles, one in particular called The Great DNA War, Part 1, Gene Drive. I really want y'all to check that out. We're going to be reading some of her scripts from it and really breaking down what's going on. But there seems to be a genetic war taking place. And in this particular video, I'm going to pretty much react to what has been passed in Congress, what has been brought to the Supreme Court and has been passed. So you don't think that this is some conspiracy theorist sensationalism talk that we're having. No, no, ladies and gentlemen. The Supreme Court has been talking about the patenting of this other species that's being created. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, greetings. As you join the chat, make sure you hit it with the thumbs up. I see brothers and sisters rolling in. Renita Miller, Catherine Perkins in the house. Fugo Island. Wanda's in the building. Pure Blood. That's right. The official. I see y'all. Let's continue.
It's dependent on ownership of these people who are no longer Homo sapiens. In fact, they renamed them Homo Borgenesis. So what human rights does a Homo Borgenesis have? Homo Borgenesis is the species that they have named vaccinated people. And I use the term vaccinated loosely. The genetically modified people.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fact. Matter of fact, let's go to Scientific America. And this is recent. In a unanimous decision last month, the Supreme Court ruled that naturally occurring genes are not patentable, but said the court cDNA, a man-made copy of the genetic messenger in cells, is patentable. As a geneticist, I have my own opinion about this ruling, and I'm reading this article here, but the potential outcomes are important enough that all members of the public, not just biologists, should be equipped with the knowledge to evaluate it. The ruling may significantly affect patients' access to genetic testing and is set an important precedent for future developments in the biotechnology sector. So, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, these people can be patented. And I actually spoke about this some time ago. A while ago, there were Supreme Court rulings back as early as 2013 that were introducing these concepts. And I was bringing it out about 2 years ago in my videos. For those who haven't seen my previous live stream, it is now available exclusively on Patreon. But I was bringing out the facts that, well, actually, I showed a video of doctors pulling out 6-foot demonic parasites out of people's bodies. It really looked like something from Venom. It looked like something from the movie Venom. It looked to be symbiote DNA, alien DNA, something that did not look normal at all. And these were from all unsuspected patients. And whatever was being removed from these people, they had no idea that anything was going on in their bodies, right? Nothing at all. So you had a lot of things going on. People dropping dead, people seeming to have psychological breakdowns. right before collapsing to their death. I'm talking about bodies contorting. And we're talking about young people just dying, dropping dead, right? So after people end up getting shanked, that's the key word we're going to use here, shanked or poked. Um, these issues begin to transpire, right? Let's continue.
Are now referred to as Homo borgenesis, not Homo sapiens. You can see it in the very first, I think it's the second page actually, in the NASA Langley research paper on fifth generation warfare. They say humans, whatever, and Borgs. So they've already said that.
So that will point to some type of nanotechnology, alien DNA. And these are the things that we've been speaking on for quite some time. What people don't realize is it's really just demon possession. Jude chapter 1, verse 6 says, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he had reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So these angels changed their natural estate. They are now in need of a host. They are relegated to needing what we call on this channel a meat suit. And that's what's going on. Lena, thank you for the $10 contribution. Says, peace and blessings, bro. Is there any way to set up an interview with you? My big brother wants to link up with you. Contact me through kingbreed.com. Pardon me. Contact me on my Instagram or my email address.
That people are not going to be Homo sapiens, and therefore the question arises, if Maria is no longer a human for purposes of the law because she's been genetically modified.
So now people are no longer human beings, ladies and gentlemen, according to the law. And this is in Supreme Court rulings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this clear. This is a fact. Let me go ahead and read more on this ruling so you can know that this is not just something that I made up. I do realize that in this day and age, there's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. You don't know what you can trust. But one thing you can trust is what's been put on the books. The company that applied for the patients is Myriad Genetics, building on the work of researchers around the world. Myriad identified the location and sequence of two genes that are sometimes mutated in breast cancer, known as BRCA1 and BRCA2. Collectively, BRCA1/2. Morale filed patients for the genes in 1994 and 95. People can have their risk of breast cancer to ovarian cancer assessed by finding out if their mutations is BRCA. Then one can use the information to increase preventative care measures like increased screening or what have you. So this is when these things start being brought to play. Changing DNA when it comes to breast cancer in order to, come up with preventative measures. They're able to alter DNA in certain individuals. And this is when these rulings and these court appearances began. Like they've been working on this, right? So what you have here is genetically modified beings, genetically modified people. But, we tried to warn people not to go down there and get shanked, but nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to listen.
Then what protections does she enjoy under the penal code? Let's use the law against them, and we can do that. And that's one of the reasons why we're suing. And one of the ways I'm trying to stop them is, in our case, it's Robert V. Austin in the 10th Circuit. I put in front of the court the question.
He just said Robert V. Austin, the 10th Circuit. He's bringing the names out. Let's go.
Is it true that people who were given mRNA gene therapy shots are in fact now the chattel property of the patent holders? What's interesting is the Department of Justice, who defends the Department of Defense, Health and Human Services, and the FDA, all at the same time they defend them, didn't deny it.
They didn't deny it. That's because they passed it. As of last month, if you have gotten if you've gotten shanked, you are pretty much more than likely, we're going to still use the word allegedly. You are allegedly a product of the patent. You are a product of the pharmaceutical industry. Just like they did with breast cancer for preventative measures. St. J says, Proverbs 1:20, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, there's more. There's more that I like to share with you. And I want everybody to get the engagement up and everybody to pound that like button if you are gaining edification. Yup. Genesis 5:24, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So, okay, I'm not sure how that scripture applies. I seen Enoch, and I thought you went somewhere else with it. Let's see here. I'm gonna share another screen with you all.
It's dependent on ownership of these people who.
This third strand is going to mix with this ferrofluid. Okay. Now, once this third strand mixed in with this ferrofluid is injected into the human body, which is going to mesh with the human DNA, it is then now going to render you a beast. And now your body can shapeshift, right? Why?
This is something directly out of Venom. And for those who are unfamiliar with Venom, that's pretty much was introduced through the Spider-Man series, the third edition. And Venom can, morph, shapeshift, all of that. People are becoming symbiotes. People are literally becoming symbiotes. It's going to come a time in this world. I want y'all to imagine this. This is what the future looks like in the next, let's say, 30 to 40 years. This is what the future looks like. You're going to have dating websites, right? You're going to have dating apps just for purebloods. You're going to have restaurants for purebloods. And then you're going to have restaurants for what these other entities and forces that are going to be walking among us. Now, picture that. That's what this is coming to. This is what this evolution of society is becoming. Yep, changing your genetics is blasphemy, but nobody wanted to listen when we were talking about, hold up, it got what in it? It got RNA. What is that? Nobody, no, especially in our community. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6 says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Nobody wanted to, do their research. They just said, I want to keep this particular job I got. I want some Jordans. I want some damn Shake Shack. Hey, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. And not even understanding their rights, they marched down and they did something that said RNA, mRNA, didn't know what they were dealing with, didn't understand about genetic codes, and that changes were taking place. And now it's out there, like the information is out there. DNA has been changed, right? Because the Supreme Court is talking about it. There are rulings about this. It's all over the place. They use all this vague language that people didn't understand, and it worked.
Because now your body has now transformed and it has now been acclimated to the suspended iron nanoparticles within this black liquid called.
They're turning people into symbiotes. And this is all alleged. I'm just going to the Davis ministry and I'm seeing what he's saying. I can actually see that taking place. If you look at some of these leeches, or what they were calling blood clots, that were pulled out of people, ladies and gentlemen, if you see what is on my Patreon account, if you look at some of these things that were pulled out of people, it is undoubtedly something that is alien. It is something foreign. And it really reminds you of the Spider-Man series with Eddie Brock, and how this demon controls him and how he maneuvers and how he moves and how it actually tortures him. I'm telling you, man, Scriptures, man, it prophesied a lot of these things, man. Let's continue.
Who are no longer Homo sapiens.
Ferrofluid. Now your body is now able to change shape or to shape shift, and now that means that your body can be programmed by way of information and commands sent to this ferrofluid. So now your body now has the third strand of DNA, which makes you or turns you into a beast. This third strand is going to mix,
which turns you into a beast. Man, the scriptures tell us, listen, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 13. Consider the work of the Most High, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Here you have these people trying to play God, changing the DNA. This is similar to the days of Noah. When you go into Dr. Lee Merritt's, her writings, she goes on to say, potentially we could save our species, Homo sapiens, from becoming something like Homo siliconis or Homo borgenesis by having a breeding program. So the joke of a pure blood service a pure blood dating service is looking less like a joke. So here we're going to have a situation in which it's going to come a time we're going to have to make sure we're breeding with people who haven't got the you know what. We're talking about changing breeding processes altogether, because once these particles and these strands change the DNA out of the people, this is why like-minded spiritual people got to move a certain way. And these are one of the questions you should be asking people. Literally, you should be asking people, have you, not to get in your personal business, but hey, if I'm going to be dating you, if I'm going to be dealing with you, if I want children with you, hey, are you, have you been shanked? And if you have been shanked, let's go get some blood work. And if things are looking good, if you're in tip-top health, we good to go. But if not, let's take the precautions if necessary. Hey, get certain things that cleanse the blood, cleanse the lymphatic system, and things of that nature. Because I'm telling you, they're really doing some strange things in this world. Yeah, that's real talk. It's like this shank is something as bad as an STD. Real talk.
In fact, they renamed.
Let's continue here. She goes on to say, and here's the horrific problem. If anyone genetically altered humanoid, what they call the gene drive individual, enters the pure blood gene pool, here will start the transformation chain of events for all those who thought their children would be pure bloods, which brings us to biblical accounts. She goes on to say, as a child, I always hated having to read out loud from the Old Testament when we got those boring passages about who begot who. But now I get it. Before DNA testing, Noah had provenance or proof of heritage. He was not a saint according to the stories, but he was unpolluted by the Nephilim genome. Interestingly, Noah was 10 generations from Adam. Sounds familiar. And perhaps this is related to God commanding the Amalekites. Yeah, because those Amalekites, those are the ones who edit, or the Amalekites. He wiped off the face of the earth. No child, no sheep, nor goat was to be spared. Why would God do that? God that had been the only way to prevent the genetic extinction of humanity. Exodus 17, 8 through 13, Samuel 15, 2, Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Scientists justify their gene drive research, of course, as the answer to stopping the spread of malaria or dengue fever, diseases that, by the way, are being cured by missionaries around the world using chlorine dioxide. But when biology journal published surveys are the scientists asking about the morality of such research. It suggests even the concerns. In 2010, another bit of predictive program in the movie Splice. Yeah, so if you check out that movie Splice, it definitely brings out a lot. That movie Splice be dropping all kinds of gems. Real talk. And that's what it is, man. It's Nephilim seed. It's Nephilim DNA. Becoming one. I'm telling you, people becoming one with the Anunnaki. They getting them damn Anunnaki, that Anunnaki blood in them. Somebody said, my baby making days are behind me anyway, but yeah, good points for those who have baby hopes for the future. Yeah, if you're going to be breeding, you should really check out who you dealing with when it comes to DNA. Somebody said they make people in hospitals get their boost, shanks, just to qualify for rehab and skilled nursing centers. These are sick people who are in compromised positions and can't help themselves. Right, right. And let me pull up that Supreme Court ruling for y'all too. Let me see. Supreme Court. Let me get the exact ruling. So nobody can, so I can't be fact checked and all of that. Let me pull it up real quick. See, this is what the scriptures tell us to do, prove all things, because these people will try their best to remove truth, and they'll try their best to say it's false information when, it's just not. Clearly, people's DNA are being changed. Hold on, let me pull it up. I want everybody to get the thumbs up on the video. Let's see. All right. The ruling it was made June 13th. Oh, this is the one on June 13th, 2013. That's the day it was. It was a unanimous Supreme decision. Let me actually read this one. And then there was another one passed last month. Washington Reuters, a unanimous U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday prohibited patients on naturally occurring human genes, but allowed legal protection on synthetically produced genetic material and compromise ruling held as a partial victory for patients and biotechnology industry. So back then in 2013, they actually made the patent legal. Now they're just trying to figure out what DNA. So that ruling last month was about who can be patented. Basically, what DNA that has been altered can be patented. But back in 2013, they already ruled that people who have changed their DNA, they could be owned by the pharmaceutical industry, owned by the companies, you could be owned by Moderna. You could be owned by Johnson and Johnson. You could be owned by these people. This is a fact. This is an utter fact. No lies detected. It's out there. The information is out there.
Named them homoborg.
And they got terms for them. Homoborgenesis. That's what they're calling these new humans. Let's read this script here. Xenogenesis.
This third strand is going to mix with this ferrofluid. Okay. Now, once this third strand mixed in with this ferrofluid is injected into the human body, which is going to mesh with the human DNA,
symbiote.
It is then now going to render you a beast, and now your body can shapeshift. Right? Why? Because now your body has now transformed, and it has now been acclimated to the suspended iron nanoparticles within this black liquid called ferrofluid. Now your body is now able to change shape or to shape shift. And now that means that your body can be programmed by way.
Ferrofluid could hypothetically be used medically, and one examining drugs were the maid that cures cancer. But it can also be used as a magnetic field around a tumor that would be used to focus the drug onto the tumor. A ferrofluid can be easily heated locally to burn a tumor. These methods have already been successfully done in mice studies.
Information and commands sent to this ferrofluid. So now your body now has the third strand of DNA, which makes you or turns you into a beast.
Wow. Xenogenesis, genetically modified human. Satan's response to Genesis is Xenogenesis. Wow. The word Xenogenesis means of strange origin. What God created in Genesis, Satan intends to defile. After all, Satan detests all of God's creations, especially man and woman, who are the image bearers of the Most High, like the days of Noah. We were witnessing a corruption of plants, animals, the biosphere, and the human genome. This is being accomplished through chemtrails, frankenfood, transgenetics, sex changes, surgery, transhumanism, etc. But the ultimate defilement involves the market of beast technology that transform men into unredeemable hybrid monsters. This is what the end goal seems to be: to turn people into straight up symbiotes, synthetic beings. And the beginning of it has already started, brothers and sisters. The beginning of it has already started. This is the reason why when you brothers and sisters are amongst the public, and you dealing with people, you're being mistreated. People are gaslighting you. People are purposely trying to target you. A lot of these individuals have made decisions that made them unredeemable. A lot of these people have done some things and made some connections with the demonic realm, and they're not the same. And y'all, you just listen. You chosen ones out there. Listen, you're going to be targeted because it's going to be purity in you. It's going to be on your essence. It's going to be on your countenance. You know, people, we wonder why people act the way they act. They got leeches in them. They got demonic spirits in them. They're operating under an alien Omicron type of spirit. It's something evolving and crawling and growing in them. There's something insatiable. There's something demonic in them. So it's not just relative, man. If you don't believe in the spiritual realm, then I don't know what to tell you, because the world is not relative. The world is a very complex, dynamic, multi-dimensional place that you're dwelling in. And often we think when people are mistreating us, when people seem to be miserable and they're aiming to frustrate us, irritate us, and put us in all kind of harm, people don't understand there are demons involved in these people. There's spirits involved in them. They're being tormented day in and day out based on some of the decisions that they have made. And I'm gonna tell you like this: if you made these certain decisions, listen, it's time. You can repent if you went down and done what you done. But I would take it very serious. I would listen. You need to be on your hands and knees. You need to be crying out to the Most High, asking for repentance for putting your trust in science and not trusting the Creator, who have given you life, who makes sure you're able to wake up day in and day out. I listen, you need to repent from disrespecting and avoiding certain friends and family, because the Lord always put one person in each family. Let me tell you, the Most High God is very fair. This is why I'm not going to have much mercy, or I'm not going to feel bad for certain people out there when all hell come crashing down all around them. Because the Most High God always put certain people in the family to speak the truth. And there was so many people that hit me up after my Patreon live that I posted. It's so many people hit me up that said, "Brother Breed, thank you so much," because I was completely humiliated in front of my family. I was talked about to no end. I was mistreated. I was casted out because I didn't want to participate in this, and I trusted the Most High to protect me during that time of need, during this global, quote unquote, global pandemic. I trusted in the Most High. And let me tell you, there's so many individuals who were mistreated. But y'all got to understand, brothers and sisters, that you won a battle, you won a war. You were going through it then. Now y'all coming out the other side as what we call them pure bloods. Pure bloods. All the pure bloods need to be gravitating towards each other. And those who aren't pure bloods, you need to be repenting right now. You need to be repenting and allowing the Most High to cleanse you, because listen, this can only get worse. Society is not slowing down in what they're doing. They're going to go from one campaign to the next campaign and to the next. But it's coming a time where we're going to be seen in the public. We're not among humans. It's going to be like the movie They Live. It's going to get to the point where we're going to be able to see these individuals with the naked eye. We ain't even going to have to put glasses on, because when people start morphing, shape shifting, and moving a certain way, all the ones who were chosen already got the spiritual glasses on. And we're going to be able to look at certain people and be like, you know what? That is not a human. They're going to be able to see you and see that you are pure blood. And you're going to have people, and we're going to be few and far in between, because believe it or not, 70% of the world, according to their documents, 70% of the world went down and done the you know what. And about 25% of those who done it dropping dead. We talking about people going out by the millions. Yahweh bless post Ecclesiasticus 39:24, and his ways are plain unto the holy. So are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked? Exactly. Our ways are plain. We just trying to, embrace the simplicity that is Christ. We just trying to live our lives and do the best we can to avoid sin, right? But our ways are stumbling blocks to the wicked. It's going to bother their spirits. The wicked are going to look at us like, who do they think they are? Even while everything was going on, it was the unshanked versus the shanked. The unshanked versus the shanked. And that happened for months in and months out. I'm telling you. And they're not realizing the effects of sin on this earth, because it takes sin as well. It ain't just the genetics. Listen, they have to cultivate a perfect storm. They have to create a perfect storm to activate the symbiotes, the symbiotic beings that's in the blood. Remember, listen, the scriptures tell us not to eat meat that's medium rare, that's leaking of blood. And he tells us this because of what? The soul lives in the blood. The Most High says the spirit lives in the blood. So when you seeing blood clots that look like demonic parasite leeches coming out of people's blood, listen, that shows you that the spirit that's in those people are no longer the same. They are no longer the same. Some of y'all's friends and family, you looking at them, you think that that's the same person that you grew up around. You think that that's the same person that pampered you, fed you. You think that's the same person who was around for your upbringing, but you are looking at a demon. That person is a catalyst. This is why you got to get away from a lot of people and gravitate towards like-minded. You have a spiritual family out here, brothers and sisters. You have people that see. That's who you want to be around. Genesis 9:4, but flesh with the life thereof, which is in the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. But flesh with the life thereof, which is in the blood thereof. The life is in the blood. The spirit is in the blood. Your life force is in the blood. So when you let a foreign agent into your bloodstream, you have no idea what you're doing to your life, your spirit, your soul. Sean the Navigator, thanks for the $10 contribution. Says, praying for all of us who are being targeted, singled out, and ostracized. We need each other more now than ever. Any infighting among us chosen must be overcome and eradicated. Let's unite. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's 100%, bro. Because right now, it's gonna come a time where, you know, we gotta be amongst the 1/3s. We gotta be amongst brothers and sisters who, in this truth. And don't look at this as no game. This ain't no sensationalism. This ain't shock value. This is the world you living in. This is what's going on in the world. The fact of the matter is, everybody among you are not humans. You got some genetically engineered, modified people. I want to read more on Dr. Lee Merritt because she brings up the predictive programming in a 2010 film called Splice, which depicted horrors of interspecies gene splicing, consummated with the information war. This was followed by puff science articles downplaying any worries the movie might engender. Benjamin Radford at the time was the bad science columnist for Live Science. He covered pseudoscience, psychology, urban legends, and the science behind unexplained or mysterious phenomenons. He explained the movie thus: while cinematic, scientists must, as those in Splice, unwittingly unleash horrific monsters. Real genetic scientists strive to help create hardier and healthier plant and animal hybrids. Listen, the Most High told us not to mix any species. Matter of fact, Leviticus 19:19 says, ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. Neither shall a garment mingle of linen and woolen to come upon it. Listen, we're not even supposed to be mixing, crossbreeding dogs. We're not even supposed to be crossbreeding dogs, let alone they're talking about making different animals and different species. For real. Yep, somebody said, stay strong, no weapon formed against us. Real talk. Yep, somebody said yes. It's been especially heavy this past week, very intense energies. Yeah, it really have. I believe a lot of us are experiencing the rudeness, the hatred, the venom coming from other people, because we also in the brink of the pagan festival days. And it's a perfect storm. With all these horror movies, with all, this demonic energy, these demonic frequencies and undertones, a lot of what's inside of people, the malignant root that's growing in a lot of individuals, is actually being activated. They're feeding that energy. They're feeding that spirit. They're feeding that demon in them. And when you're a child of the light, when you're a child of the Most High, they see you off break. They see y'all off break every time y'all leave y'all house. They watching. And you know what? A lot of them are agents hitting people up on the line saying, hey, we got one that can see. Just like on the movie They Live. Hey, we got one that can see. Real talk. CA, thanks for the $5 contribution. Says, I warned on Facebook from 2020 to 21. Even posted evidence and they didn't listen, especially family. Now the gang stalking has been happening. Real talk. And that's how it's been, man. And I can honestly say, man, I've been warning as well, and I'm experiencing the same thing. And now, those individuals never going to come back and say, y'all wasn't into no conspiracies. This is actually true. Listen, there are Supreme Court rulings on this stuff. You can't sit up here and say people are conspiracy theorists when the facts are out there. And I'm not trying to give no medical advice, and I'm not putting out no false information. This is the facts. Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. Absolutely. And I don't think people understand how paramount sin comes into play. Because when you practice in these pagan holidays, sin. Let's talk about sin in general for a moment, right? Let's talk about it. I don't think people understand that sin does not just affect you personally. What you brothers and sisters decide to do in your life, when you decide to sin, your sin does not just affect you. Your sin affects your wife. Your sin affects your husbands. Your sin affects your children. Yeah. Sin affects the entire world. Sin cultivates an environment. When you got all this same sex marriage, when you got all of this inordinate affection, when you got, transgender dancing for children, in elementary schools, do you know that the whole entire world feels it? And I mean, nature feels it, the atmosphere feels it, to the point where the entire world will begin to howl. The sky would howl, the ground would mourn, earthquakes, typhoons, hurricanes, all of that stuff comes from your sin. That's where it comes from. So we be thinking like, I'm just doing this to myself. Whatever demon you fighting with, you think you just doing it to yourself. And I ain't hurt nobody doing this or doing that. No, you're hurting the environment. You're hurting your children. You're cursing your children with the decisions you make out of ignorance. That's why I hate sin, bro. I hate the fact that my mortal body is relegated to sin. I crave to be transformed. I crave for a new body that's incorruptible. I keep my mind on that. I don't want no corruption to be added to my body because this body is a temple of the Holy Ghost. But I hate the fight. I hate the fact that we even have to battle the flesh the way we do. Real talk. But I just wanted to bring that up. King Tobias, thanks for the $5 contribution. Says Shalom, New Breed. You stay speaking facts. All praises to the Most High. Thank you, family. I appreciate it. There was another super chat as well. Saint J. Thanks for the $5 contribution. Says people been acting too friendly around me like a Judas spirit that act like they want to kiss you, but plan to kill you. I had to quit my job for this. Wow. So you feel the environment, you feel people closing in. That's real talk, man. I understand. Like you gotta be mindful of these serpents and these agents. Because they can sense your aurora. They can sense who you are. Somebody said, get the likes up, please. Yes, absolutely. Everybody get the likes up. Get the likes up on the broadcast. Yup. Man, them scriptures tell us. It says in 1 Corinthians 15:38, but God giveth it a body, and it have pleased him to every seed his own body. Let me read that again. That's a pivotal scripture right there. That's that voltage right there. But the Most High giveth a body, as it hath pleased him, and to every seed his own body. And flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, and another of fishes, and another of birds. For those who don't know what scripture that is, that's 1 Corinthians 38 and 39. The Lord made it clear that this is an abomination. When y'all black folks heard RNA and DNA and BPAs and all of these things, you should have been doing your research. He don't play that genetic altering and changing oneself. Thanks for the $2 contribution. Courtney Johnson. Strength and Honor, thank you for the $10 contribution. Says expose these beasts and witches. Thank the Most High Yah for people like you. Thank you, family. I appreciate the support. Yeah, real talk. Them scriptures tell us. And you go back to Dr. Lee Merritt. She was bringing out a lot, man. I really recommend y'all read up on this. And she's a nice Caucasian lady. So everybody, it don't hold no race. We ain't dealing with race because Dr. Lee Merritt been doing her thing from the beginning of this. She been doing her thing. So shout out to Dr. Lee Merritt. I read up on a lot of her stuff. I read up on a lot of David Icke stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of their literature is real valuable for these times that we living in. In the Great DNA War Part 1, she says, we don't name wars until after the fact. World War I wasn't called World War I until after the World War II was finished. That's a fact. So if yet to be seen, what is this global war will be called? See, that's an interesting fact she just pointed out. That's a real interesting fact she just pointed out. Everybody want to talk about World War III, right? Everybody want to talk about when is World War III coming? You know, when is World War III coming? Because after that, the apocalypse, the battle of Megiddo. After that, you know, the Antichrist gonna rise and then Christ's gonna return. And then listen, ladies and gentlemen, who says that you're not already in World War III? Who's to say you have not been in a war for years now? Realizing that this is the third war, that you're already in World War III or World War Z. Think about this, because wars wasn't called wars while they were happening. They wasn't called world wars while they were happening. They were called world wars after they happened. So we sitting here like, no, that's going to happen when a tribulation coming. We listening to these Christian pastors, not realizing we need to gird up right now. We are at war right now. We listening to these pastors talking about waiting on the Antichrist. The Antichrist spirit, the man of sin, may have already presented himself. The man of sin is that the Antichrist spirit is moving through multiple people. Remember, Paul says, even in my time, there were many antichrists. So while we sitting here waiting for a chain of events to take place and becoming disbelievers in the Bible, that's what's happening. People becoming disbelievers in the Bible because they're waiting for a certain series of events to take place, not realizing all the horsemen of the apocalypse has already been released right now as we speak. We already in World War Z out here, World War III out here. Real talk. That is real talk.
So what?
Hold on, let me see. And then she goes on to say, I hope I live to see, she says, I hope I live to see if this name sticks. We have come to a crossroads in the timeline of our existence. And it is not exaggerated to say that what we do right now will determine whether we humans continue to exist as a species. In up and coming articles, I will discuss the nature of our enemy, the details of the battlefield, and more. Unquestionably, we are engaged in a multi-dimensional, uncharacteristic war being fought primarily in the information space. Yup, I mean, this is just what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. This is war. And they're calling these people who have been shanked, they're calling them Homo Borgenesis. And this is not a joke. This is not a joke at all, man. This is what's going on. Let me see here. Yep. Ecclesiastes 6:13. Separate thyself from the enemies and take heed of thy friends. Wow. And that's what's needed the most right now. What's needed the most right now is separation from those who are not like-minded. They're going to listen. They're going to chastise you. They're going to call you conspiracy theorists. They're going to say you weirdos. They're going to say you're strange, you're odd. They're going to say all kind of things about you, brothers and sisters, because you are not going to follow suit to everything they pushing. And it's going to be difficult. You're going to lose a lot of loved ones when you take this red pill, but it's going to be worth it understanding who your friends and who your enemies are. And Yahweh bless is bringing them scriptures. Yahweh bless Tay, he bringing them. This is why I love my chat. I got the best chat on YouTube because I already know that when I get on here, a lot of times my chat, they're educated in these scriptures and they're going to be helping narrate the video, narrate the stream. And that's what it's about. Each one teach one, iron sharpen iron. Ecclesiastes 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Real talk. They're going to be rusted. They're going to be burning out. You're going to see, listen, you're going to start seeing a lot of paranormal activity going on. There's going to be a lot of that going on in certain people's houses. You're going to see a lot of psychotic breakdowns going on. There's going to be some real strange things happening to people, y'all. It's going to be real strange. It's going to be perplexing to see what's coming. And those who are untainted, hey, we pretty much going to be on the move. We're going to have to move in syncrecy with the Holy Spirit, and we're going to have to move in silence. Don't tell nobody what you got going on. Don't tell nobody where you're going to be. Don't drop your location. Don't do none of those things, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be in stealth mode. You living in the last days right now. Only deal with the people that are trusted. Yep. Yeah, Boru says, sorry, that link shows proof. 10 Commandments and DNA. Right. Absolutely. Micah 7:5. Trust ye not in a friend. Put ye confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. Yep. Keep your mouth away from those. Don't tell these people. Don't tell these people who have given in to her bosom. And thy bosom is the Babylonian structure. Those who lieth in her bosom, lieth in thy bosom of Babylon. Don't tell them nothing. I'm telling y'all, don't tell them anything. These people will use any information they can against you. You're going to have to move in the shadows of the Most High. Because I'm telling you now, people going to be really bugging out. People going to be out here tweaking. They already are. They were pulling these blood clots out of people that look like something out of Slither. You can't tell me that's not affecting them. Listen, it's more to a body than just a mind and a physiology and the biology of a body. The body has a spirit, and the spirit lives in the blood. If something like that is floating around in their blood, let me tell you something. Their spirit is dark. You don't want to be around nobody with a dark spirit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying that everybody. Let me tell you something. Let me give y'all a little story, right? Right around, I don't know, was it last? Yeah, it was last winter. Didn't get sick at all, right? Until I spent time around people who got shanked. Didn't get sick at all. Perfect health until I was around people who got shanked. I'm just telling the truth. It is what it is. Right after when I found out they got shanked, didn't know, but I was around some people that got shanked. That's the only time I got sick. Seriously. It felt like if I would have stayed to myself, I'd have been perfectly fine, right? That's all I'm saying. Melissa says, I love your recent videos a lot. You are great at explaining, describing the current spiritual warfare at hand. Much love. God bless. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, Jolena says, me too. I totally agree. Right. Jeremiah 9:4, man. Yahweh bless, man. He bringing them. Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slander. Real talk, especially up in these major cities, especially in these major cities. Boy, oh boy, you can't trust them. A lot of these cats out here, let me tell you something. A lot of these cats will go get shanked. They'll do anything. Get a bone marrow to science. Get a semen, blood, sweat, and tears to the powers that be, if it means that they can get a cash advance. So if they'll do whatever, put their own body and spirit and soul on the line, what the hell you think they're gonna do to you? They don't give a damn about their own spirit. What the hell you think they're gonna do to you? Especially in these cities where austerity measures is out here and the money ain't looking right. The money looking funny in the cities. The money looking funny because they're not relying on resources. They're not relying on agricultural things. They gotta sell themselves short. Yep. Rollo in the building says the whole city shall flee for the noise of the horsemen and bowmen. They shall go into thickets and climb up upon the rocks. Every city shall be forsaken, and not a man shall dwell therein. Wow. We talking about it's going to be looking like Book of Eli out there. Y'all seen that movie with Denzel Washington, the Book of Eli? That's how the city's going to be, man, at the rate we going. Absolutely. I feel the same way. Stop donating your blood. Red Cross, Blue Shield, all of that is, listen, all of that is ran by the Rothschilds. 9 times out of 10, when you send your blood, that blood is being auctioned off or it's being taken by the vampires. They sitting in mansions drinking your blood. That's what's happening. Because you are dealing with a lot of blood drinkers. We talking about the same seed line that's related to Vladimir the Impaler and Dracula. Them the same people running Red Cross Blue Shield. And we wonder why these demonic beings are living 100 years old. They living off your life because the life is in the blood. They living off your life. They got to live off the life of the chosen, especially the children of Israel. Why you think on these purge movies and hostile movies, they always go into the hood snatching our people up and harvesting their organs and taking their blood? Second Esdras 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown place appear unsown. The full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. Facts. Yep, Baru says like the TV show True Blood. Exactly. They put it all in their TV series. True Blood tells us that. Yep, facts. Same with plasma. So Humble says same with plasma. Who knows what they're really doing with our bodily fluids? Real talk. Real talk. Osu Sun says, greetings, brother New Breed. Is true. You can even smell some of the shank ones. It's like they're contagious. Right. Yeah, that shank, man, that shank them put something in them, man. And they were calling it blood clots, but anybody who's seen that Patreon, if you're not on my Patreon, you need to go there. The only reason I didn't post that on YouTube because it was graphic. It was graphic what they were showing. It was one video in particular that I shared with y'all where everybody who got shanked, certain individuals were caught on CTV and they were caught battling something, just like the movie Venom. Like when Venom shows up with Brock and he starts fighting and talking to himself. But what was happening was these people were turning their heads very slowly on CCTV. This was caught on camera. And they would just start swinging in the air, fighting in the air. And they were talking, murmuring something. And then they would just drop dead. They would go into seizures and convulsions. And that was it. And then there was one video in particular, I had to put this on Patreon. It was one video, one guy throws himself under a train. He's standing in front of a train and he just starts fighting the air and just throws himself under the train. I'm like, hey man, stuff is real. Ashley Blackheart, thank you for the Blacks here. Ashley Blacks here. Thank you for the $10 contribution. Says beautiful work, bro. Question: is there an in-depth study I can get into for edification on where the 12 tribes are located? The 12 tribes are located all over the world, but you can actually they're everywhere. But that's a good question. I don't know in particular who you can go to for that. I think I've done videos like that in the past, so you may want to start off by searching my archives. So I would recommend you start there and see if there's anything actually on the channel. But thank you for the support. I always oblige people to just read the scriptures themselves and not get too hung up on the exact locations. Because you're not going to ever find a video that's going to tell the exact locations where everybody are at. What you will get is a general location of the hemispheres that a lot of people may be located, but we everywhere. We across the four corners of the earth. Yep. Somebody said, not my blood, too much tobacco in it. Amongst others, protect your children. But dude said, not my blood. They don't want his blood because he got too much tobacco in it. That's something right there. Ecclesiastics 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. And that's what we should be doing right now. 100% facts. We should be striving for the truth day in and day out, making sure that we're protecting ourselves and we're seeking the Creator and we're doing what it is we're supposed to do. Standing firm from what we got going on in these days, man. Standing away from it. Because believe it or not, the time is here. We are in war. Everybody is among you are not humans. And some people that are among you, they're dangerous. 2 Peter 2:4 says, For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down into hell and delivered them into chains of judgment to be reserved into judgment. What it goes on to say, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world and of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, and condemn them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from the day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of the judgment to be punished. We talking about the same God that destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, for an example. We talking about the same God who has brought utter calamity and utter destruction to those who chose the wrong side. So we know he can deliver us out of this situation. He know he can deliver us away from the meat suits, away from the Scythians, away from the demonic ones, away from the possessed, away from those who chose Satan. And we ain't going to have no mercy. We're not going to worry about y'all when y'all start dropping dead. I'm going to be honest with you. We're not going, and that, listen, everybody has their time to pass. Let's make this clear. Everybody has their time where they pass, even the righteous. Some of us die young too. But when these demons start dropping dead and their decisions cost them their life, I'm not going to have no pity. There's going to be no sympathy because I'm going to know that the Most High God is doing that to you because you chose to believe the world and not believe him. I'm not going to have no issue with it. I'm not going to feel no type of way. And we're not going to fear. We're not going to have no fear because the Lord know how to preserve his people. He got Noah out and he got Lot out. So it is what it is. I just wanted to come through and give y'all this fervent spiritual message. Hopefully it can stay on this platform. I don't see no reason why it can't. But if it doesn't, consider joining me on Patreon, patreon.com/newbreed. If you want this exclusive content, and all praises to the Most High. I thank everybody for joining. Thanks for everybody who sent super chats and everybody who has been posting scriptures and commenting and engaging. If everybody can, just thumb the video up and share it. I want y'all to have a blessed evening. With that being said, shalom and peace.